Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session of Android app development. My name is Pritham, and I will be your instructor for this session. So, we must have used apps, right? We all have used apps. We use our apps to play games, watch movies, even for our online classes, we use mobile apps. We all know how to use apps, but do we know how an app functions? Do we know what runs behind our mobile screen, the backend, the server, what happens in there? That is a very big question, right? So in this series of sessions of Android app development, we will be learning exactly that. We will be learning all the basics required for Android app development, all the backend programming, and also different services, online cloud services that will be functioning when an app runs. We will be creating our own Android applications. So this session is completely based on Android app development. But before I directly get into the topic uh, about Android app development, let me talk about more general term of app development. So app development is a very huge domain. So Android app development is a part of app development. App development is a very big domain where different types of app development happens. So the major three types are the native apps, the web apps, and the hybrid apps. So what are native apps? Native apps, as the name suggests, native means for a particular operating system. So you will develop an app which will be working on a particular operating system, that is iOS or Android. And native apps are the ones that you find on your Google Play Store or App Store, which are downloadable and can be installed on your device. Native apps can access all your mobile features, maybe your camera, the sensors, contacts, or any other things that your mobile operating system provides you with. Then comes web apps. Web apps are more like interactive web pages that run directly on your web browsers. They're mainly built using JavaScript of both native and web apps. Like native apps, they can be installed on your device and can access all your mobile features. And like web apps, they use the browser. They run on the web server end. Like it is an application with a browser in it. It uses something called the web view. And they are single code based apps which can be run on both the operating system or any kind of operating system. What we will be focusing mainly is on native apps or native app development, because native apps provide you with great user experience and friendly user interfaces, and also they are extremely good with their performance. So when I talk about native apps, the thing I said is it works on a particular operating system. The two main operating systems that we generally know is iOS and Android. So the development process of native apps for these two operating systems are completely different. For iOS, the programming language is different, the software is different. For example, in iOS, you use something called as Xcode, and it's the software, and the programming language is Swift. Whereas in Android, again, you have several softwares, but the one we are going to use, because this topic is completely on Android app development, we will be using Android Studio, and the programming languages we will be going through is Java. You also have Kotlin, which is another option, but we will be focusing on Java. So let us keep the iOS part aside and mainly focus on Android, because as you know, Android operating systems is one of the leading operating systems that run on a variety of devices in the world right now. More than 70% of the mobile devices run on Android. So Android app development is a skill that will be very essential for you. So when I talk about Android Studio is a software which is presented to you by JetBrains IntelliJ, and also it's produced by Google, and it is specifically designed for Android app development. Here you can find the link of the download. So you can download your Android Studio app from this link, or just go to your Google Chrome and type in Android Studio. You'll find the link straight away. And the system requirements for Android Studio is very minimal. Also, it is a free software, so you can download it easily, and the installation process is also very easy. I would recommend you to download this because in the coming sessions, we will be working together in this software to build many apps. So if you have this installed in your system for the next session, it will be very great. And also other requirements for this software is the Java SDK, because we will be using Java as a backend programming language. So Java SDK is another requirement, but no worries, as the Android Studio installation process will automatically get you the Java SDK installed. You just have to download it from there. So any app development process using any software will have two main elements. The first one being the front-end development and the second being the back-end development. So in Android Studio, we have the same process. The front-end development we will be designing using XML code, and the back-end development, as I said, we will be doing using Java. So this session is mainly based on only the front-end development. We will not be focusing on back-end development now, because we will be doing it in our next session. In this session, we'll be learning about the front-end design, the XML codes, the UI elements, and all different palette items you can use in your app when designing your UI. So before we start directly with our software, I will just give you an overview of how your software will look and what are the different things that you need to remember when you are starting with your software. So here you can see this image. So this is the main user interface of your software. There are a lot of things in the screen right now, but let me slowly break this down to you. Here in the top, you can see number 1. So this is the toolbar. Here you will find all the Android options or tools that are required when you run, build, or debug your application that you are building. So all the tools required will be on the top in the toolbar. And then second will be your navigation bar. Here you will be able to navigate through all the files of your project. So this gives you a compact view of all the project files you are having. And then the third one is the most important part. This is your editor window. In this window, you will be writing or editing your code, may it be your front end or your back end. You will be doing all the editing and coding part in this window. Then fourth comes a set of options on your screen. You can see this are a group of buttons that will allow you to expand or collapse your tools window. So this fourth one is called tools window bar. And then what are tools window? Again, tools window are smaller windows which will give access to specific features of your app development. Like for example, you have your debugger here and also your project management. Also, it gives you access to version control and many more things. And finally, in the bottom, you can see the sixth one. So this is called the status bar. Here you will be having all the messages that the Android Studio software provides you with. For example, you are running your program now. Any error, warning messages, anything, you can find it there. So this is how your software will be looking on the first go. So I hope you must have understood the main concepts here. That are 6 things to remember. The main one will be your editor window where you will be editing all the code. So next, I will be showing you an example of an Android application UI. So we'll be collecting some information from there, and then we will be applying it when we are developing our own UI. So here you can see a example page of a login application. So first of all, you can see the text, welcome to my app. So this in Android Studio language, we call it as simple text view. So this is a text which can be edited only by the programmer. A programmer types whatever he requires in there and then leaves it. The user, the person using the app, cannot change it or modify it. So these are called text views. Then second, you can see an option where you have an space to write your email, and then you have space to write your password. These are called edit text. Edit text, as the name suggests, is the text which can be edited. So user can write in his own data. The input he gives to the app will be given here. And third, you have buttons. You have buttons to log in a new account, login with Google. So buttons are very crucial for any app development process. So buttons are the elements which initiate certain functions in the backend. So buttons are the clickable part in your apps. So whenever you click a button, there will be certain code that will be running in your background. So those needs to be processed whenever a button is being clicked. So for example, right now, whenever you click this login to my account button, the email and the password will be sent to your backend server or the database or the authentication part. So there it will be verified, and then an output will be returned saying the user is successfully logged in. So all the things, all the code happens only if you press a certain button. Then last one, so these are the main things I'm discussing. There are many more palette items, many more layouts that we will be discussing in our future sessions. Last one is the image view. You can see the Google icon here. So this is a image view. Image view is something you use to drop an image. For example, you are having a background image. So you will be using an image view and then giving it a source of your background. We use images to keep our audience attracted to our app. So having a background image will be better than just a plain background, right? So image views are used just for that. So these are all the basics we are having regarding Android Studio. Now let me show you how the software will look. So this will be your first page of the software. After all the installation process is done, this will be the first window you will be having here. So here you have an option to start a new Android Studio project, or you have an option to open an existing Android Studio project. Also, there are several other options that you are having here to get from a version control. These are mainly for GitHub processes. So we'll be starting our new project in this session. So I'll click on that. And here in this window, you can see it is saying that we should select a template or an activity. So what is an activity? Whenever you open an application or mobile app, you will be having a screen in there. So that thing is called an activity. So activity as a whole combines with your front-end design and also your back-end design. The two combined will give you an activity. So here we have several options for an activity. Also here you can see different options for different devices. As I said, Android is a very big operating system which works on various devices as well. You have your smartwatches, your smart TVs. Android applications run on these devices as well, and Android Studio allows you to develop apps for these devices as well. But what we will be focusing is mainly on mobile app development. And the activities or templates you can see here, there are many complex templates which we will be using in our future sessions. But as a beginner, we will be going with an empty template or an empty activity. So after selecting an empty activity, click next. Then as any project you will be developing, you have to give it a name. So let me give it a name test, and then you can see package name. So package name is something very important you have to remember. So whenever you must have explored your file manager in your mobile, you must have found something like similar to this package name, may it be com.whatsapp, com.facebook. Those who must have used PUBG, you must have encountered this com.tencent. So these are the packages where your app data will be getting stored. So for all Android applications, you will be having a package where all your data will be getting stored. So as I change the name, the package name will get also changed. So then you have to save your project. Then the language. The languages are again we have two languages, Kotlin and Java. We'll be going with Java because it is one of the oldest languages we have, and also the references, the resources we get for Java are very vast. Then comes one more important thing, that is the minimum SDK. You must be knowing this SDK, or what we say Android version. Here we have selected Android 6.0. The recent one is Android 9 and Android 10 we are having. So what the minimum SDK does is it will give you all the functions or libraries which can be used after a particular SDK. So for example, I have selected 6.2. Then the message given here is your app will run on approximately 84.9% of the devices. It says that more than 84% devices have Android 6.2. there are still some devices which have older versions. So if you are developing an app starting with a minimum SDK of 6.2, then your app won't run in a software or Android operating system of Jelly Bean or KitKat. So right now 6.2 is absolutely fine because almost all the devices have Android 6.2. There will be very less chances of devices having older versions that people still use. So after selection of all these activities, you have to click on finish. So don't mind this dialog box. It won't be appearing when you are first opening your screen. So this software is exactly the same that I showed you in the previous slides. Just this is the dark theme that I've used for my comfortability. We use Android Studio mainly because it is very flexible for users, and also it is excellent with library installations and all the external libraries you can easily install. So Android Studio is the one that I would recommend. Also, you can see the navigation bar, the toolbar. So I have put them in the straight line because I need more space for my editor. So it all depends on your comfort level, what an Android developer needs. He needs more space while he's writing code rather than to view other options, right? And then these are your toolbar windows where you have different buttons. So here is the project option where you will have all your project folders. And in tools, you can see your build option, you have your run option. And an important factor for an app developer is testing of his device. You need to test your device after every programming changes you make, right? So there are two ways of testing your device. You can either directly dump your code onto your actual mobile device using a USB cable, or you can do something called as a virtual device. A virtual device is the one which will be running inside your laptop. It will be similar to that of your phone. It will be having its own operating system. It will have its own apps. Your apps will be opening in that virtual device. So here you have that option called the AVD manager. So here you can build your own virtual device. So right now I am having the virtual device of Nexus device. So Nexus devices are really fast when considered to other devices. So when we will be building our complete application, I will also show you how to set up your own virtual devices. So right now we'll be focusing mainly on the UI part, so I'll keep this aside for now. Also, as I said, there are two parts of app development. First one being the XML part, and second the Java part. So Java is where all your backend happens. We'll be focusing on the front end. So I said this front-end design is mainly written in XML code, but here you can see a window similar to that of any Photoshop app or something like that. So UI designing can be done in two ways. Either you can use this user-friendly interface of drag and drop method, and you can see there are palette items here. You can see there is a drag and drop method. When you select any element, you will have attributes which you can change, or there is also the option of code. So these two are exactly the same thing, what you saw just now. The simple hello world program and this code of the same, it's a similar thing. You can see it is given here side by side. What mostly the beginner and intermediates prefer is going with the first option, that is using the design template. So this makes your app development very easy because it's just a drag and drop method. But when your code comes to use, because they have given an option of code, right? So consider you are building an app with, for example, you have 9 similar buttons of same color, same text, same width, same height. You're all developing same buttons. So you can't drag your button 9 times and change its attribute one by one, right? So what we will be doing is just dragging one button, change its attribute, and then copy the same code and paste it 8 times. So this makes it a lot easier and saves our time. So that's when we will be using our code. But what we will be focusing is mainly on the design part because we don't require 9 buttons right now. So another key factor that an Android developer has to keep in mind. So whenever you are developing an Android application for certain organization, as a software engineer or a software developer, you should be knowing that Android application, the front end and the back end, will be just 50 to 60% of your main application. So behind in the cloud, there will be several functions like your database, the authentication, you must be having login, logout, and then even push notification, in-app messaging. So whenever you have to update your user with latest information about your app, you'll be sending him a notification. All these things happen in the cloud. So these are not what will be happening on your backend of your program. So these will be done in the cloud using certain servers. So one important server that Google provides you with is Google Firebase. So Google Firebase has all these features of database, authentication, even push messages, push notification. So we will be learning about Firebase also and its users, its database users in our future sessions. So right now, as I said, we'll be mainly focusing on is the front-end development. Here, you can see a hello world text view. So in attributes, you can change the text. So you have something called as a text. So here, if I write hello world, welcome. So the changes will happen instantaneously. And you can see the palette items. So let me explain to you the palette items. So the main common things that we use are text view, button, image view. I have said this to you earlier. So in text view, again, there are many things. So this is the edit text, the one with the underline. Again, under edit text, you have different options. So if you want to have an email entered, so you have something called the email text view. If you want a password entered, you have something called the password text view, phone number, multi-line text. So these are different types of input that you can collect from your user. So if you were to use any other programming or any other software, you will be having to use edit text, and then you have to write a backend code so as to only take email as an input. So Android Studio makes it easier with many different types of input that can be used. Then you have buttons. Again, buttons are of different types. You have checkbox buttons, you have chip buttons, radio buttons. We'll be using this whenever needed in our future sessions. But right now we'll be focusing only on the simple button that we'll be using. And then also you have widgets. Widgets, again, image view, I have told you earlier. Video view. Video view is similar to that of your image view. Only in this is you show a video to your user, like you have an intro video to your app that may be of just 2 to 3 seconds, but you need it. So you'll be putting something called a video view and give it the source of your video. So whenever you start your app, you'll be having this video loaded. And then you have layouts. Layouts are the key element in your UI or the front end. So the first element that goes onto your activity will be your layout. It can be any layout. You have relative layout, you have constraint layout, linear layout. So these have their own specific usages. But when we are using a single activity, we will be using constraint layout because again, designing will be easier. Why this is called the constraint layout is because when we click on this element, you have this blue lines which will be attached to your ends of the screen, right? So these lines are nothing but constraints. They lock onto your device edges. For example, if I did not have all these constraints or the blue lines, what will be happening is whenever I run my application, this text view won't be in the center of the screen. It will go to the top of the screen. So it will be starting from the top of the screen. So these constraints become important whenever I want to lock particular thing onto a particular space on my UI. So now let us add another element to our UI. So let me choose one button. So again, this is simple. You have to just click it, drag it, and then place it here. So you can see the button. Then you have to apply constraints. You can click on this round circle and then drag it to the end of the screen. It will be constrained to the bottom. Similar to the sides, it will be constrained to the other side. when it's constrained to the both the sides equally, it will be coming to the center. And then if you are having more than one element in the same row, then you can constrain them to each other. For example, I'll be constraining this button to this above item so that these two will be staying together with the same difference of length. Now, you must have seen very complex UI designs, right? UI designs having very colorful buttons and all the designer text fonts. We can do that using Android Studio. All the complex UI, it starts with the same blank screen. So now, for example, you have this button. You can see attributes here. So in this attributes, this is a very long list. You have several options. And the main things that the main things that you require is one is the text of the button. So I'll be changing the text to submit. So you can see the text has changed now. Then also if I want to increase the text size, so text size is mainly given in SP, scale independent pixels. So this is the unit. So right now I want it to be much bigger than that. So I'll give it as 24 SP. So you can see the text has increased, text size. Also you have different font size. In attributes you have the search option, so you can search for anything. Then also the background color. So if you want to change your background color, you'll have an option of background, and in here you have to select your colors. So now I have selected the red color. So like this, you can take your own time and then design a beautiful UI using all the attributes that you have here. You just need enough patience and then the knowledge of all the attributes that are here. So if you are really interested in Android app development and this front-end designing, I would suggest you to download the Android Studio app and then start learning all these attributes slowly, because these will be very crucial when you are developing a very user interactive app, so that your users will be attracted towards your app. And here you have this simple text view, which also can be edited similarly. And one important factor, you can see something called an ID here. So any activity or any UI will not be having just one or two elements, right? They'll have many elements, many edit text, many buttons, many smaller text views. There will be several elements inside a single activity. So all of them cannot be named the same. There needs to be some unique identification which we can use in our backend programming to identify them. So this ID does the same for us. So every element inside an activity needs to have a unique ID so that there won't be any programming error in our application. Now, for example, if you have given submit as a button and also another button will be having the same ID, then in the back end, the program will get confused. So there are two buttons, and then which button is being pressed, it won't understand, right? So the app will crash. So having an unique ID is really important. So these are the basics of all your front-end designing. You have different options here, different phone selection or your layout selection, and also you have your project files here. So main project files we require are the in resources, you have your layout. So this is the XML part, and then this is the Java part. Also you have your Gradle files, which all these files I will be discussing with you in the next session. So for this session, this is it. You have any questions, you have any doubts regarding the topic we have discussed so far, you can just put it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Also in your chat box, you will be given with a link. It's a link to feedback form, and you have any feedback to be given or any different topic you want to learn and you want to say it to me, you can put it in your feedback form. It won't take long, it will just take 2 to 3 minutes. So yeah, open for any questions now. So we have a question by Sujan Pujari. Will you cover Java in further session? So yeah, we'll be covering the basics of Java, all the Java basics that you will be requiring in the future sessions. And again, Android Studio is completely free. You can download it from your browser. Just type in Android Studio, you'll find the link straight away.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Which one to prefer, Android Studio or Flutter development?
Okay, Flutter development is mainly used for hybrid app development. So Flutter is an app development platform. So it is an plugin to your Android Studio where you can use it to develop a Unicode-based apps which can run on both iOS and Android. But if you're going for native user experience, I would recommend you to go with Android Studio. Flutter is an plugin that can be added to Android Studio. You can do that too, but Android Studio would be better. Music Lab.
Thank
Is
you.
it that we need to create developer account in Play Store if you want to test an app in our front? So developer account is
actually?
okay. Wait. Yeah. Add any question?
So you mentioned about Firebase, right? So what is the use of Firebase, sir?
Firebase, I said Firebase is a server provided by Google, especially for Android app developers, beginners, where you will be having features like your database, your authentication part, your push notification. All these things will be provided to you easily by Firebase. So you want to store your data on your database, you can do it using Firebase.
So like room database is there, right? So it is the same like room database. Firebase can be used as a database, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay,
so it can be used.
Okay.
Okay, we have a question by Music Lab. Is it that we need to create developer account in Play Store if we want to test the app in our friends without uploading to Play Store? So developer account is something you need when you're uploading your app to Play Store. If you want to test your app in your friend's device, you can just create an APK file using your Android Studio and then send it to your friend in any platform like WhatsApp or Google. So you don't have to create a developer account if you want to test it on your friend's device. Okay, another question by Ayush Bari. Through Android Studio, we can only develop a specific screen or even an app. So as I said, an app consists of an activity. There are many activities. So you can add many activities whenever you are developing an application. So single activity is not the limitation. You can have multi-activity screens. You can develop something like an app like Instagram using an Android Studio software. So it is really vast.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think Instagram is built using React Native, right?
Sorry, what?
Instagram is built using React Native, right?
Yeah, I said you can build something like Instagram clone using Android Studio. I didn't say Instagram is built using Android Studio.
I got it, sir.
Yeah. Can we make app with some AI features in Android Studio? Absolutely, you can use AI features inside an application when you are using Android Studio. You need certain libraries for that which have to be installed. So you can use all the AI features. Even Firebase provides you with certain AI machine features, so you can use that too.
Sir, I have another question. I came from Flutter background.
Okay.
And I'm confusing with activity. I'm not getting that.
Okay, what Flutter basically does is you have to write a single code. So that is Dart code, I guess. So you will be using Dart code to develop both the front end and the back end. So there are no two things in that. Those two will be coming together, right? In Flutter.
Yes.
So in Android Studio, you will be having an activity, simply what you develop in your Flutter. It will be an activity. Activity is any page in your Android or any app, for example. So it will be divided into two parts, the front end and the back end. So these will be interrelated within an activity. So any changes you make in the front end, you can update it in the back end.
Oh, thanks, sir. I got it.
Are you conducting a webinar on web development? Okay, we'll be telling you with any new topics will be going on. So you need to, if you need to stay updated, you have to follow us on our social media handles. the Instagram page, the Facebook page. So the links will be given in your chat application for the chat page. So you can follow us there. You'll get updated about all the new sessions we'll be conducting. So to stay up to date, you follow our social media handles. Okay. If you're using Android Studio software, these two are enough. And XML, again, you don't have to completely know it. Like it is the code which will be auto-generated whenever you use some elements. You use the drag and drop method, it will be auto-generated. Java is the main programming language you require whenever you are developing Android apps for the backend mainly.
Guys, if you have any queries, you can even forward it to us in our Telegram handle. You can just find the Telegram handle here. I'll just put it again for you.
Okay, will this session is on YouTube? And
Yeah,
I
it will
think
come. It will.
yes,
It will be on YouTube.
Thank you for joining in. This is Gautam here, the CEO of AthrV-Ed. Thank you for joining in, and I hope you all loved the session. And Pritham, thanks a lot. You gave a really great session, and I would request all the participants who have attended the webinar to just fill the feedback forms. Okay, Karthik has like couple of times added the form link. I would request Karthik to add it again. So this would help us
Yeah.
improve what we can do in the next webinars, and how did you feel about this webinar, and what are the things that you would want in the further webinars, and is there any possibilities for us to improve? So your feedbacks are very valuable to us, so that we can give back that value to you. So please take this like seriously and fill the feedback forms, because it would help both of us. So thank you guys for joining.